Hello guys! Okay, so welcome to my one and only, okay, it's not gonna be the only one, but welcome to my first ever commentary video thing. This is super exciting for me since this is my first ever YouTube video in terms of commentary that I'm doing. Sorry, it's already getting redundant, but I'm doing it as additional content to my Twitch channel, which is over at twitch.tv/OniReiv. I stream every Saturday nights on comic related stuff, mostly webcomic related things. So if you're interested, go check that out too. Sorry, oh my god, that's the first thing I'm saying to my video. But I'm planning on uploading more regularly. Don't quote me on that just yet. But I would love to share some insight that I've gathered over these past 6 months for my webcomic. And I'm working to finish it in hopefully the next 2 to 3 years. But speaking of, if you enjoy vampires, demons, gothic, dark academia vibes with a hint of romance and action, go check out my comic, WEBTOON CIRCUS, on WEBTOON and Tapas. It touches topics of belongingness as well as finding out who you are and all that jazz. I assure you I have so much planned for it and it's gonna get hype. It is gonna get hype, so please check that out if you're interested. Thank you so much. And thanks for all my readers so far as well. I really didn't think I'd even get this far as I am now, so and thanks for enjoying the story. I really appreciate all of you. If you want to read it, the link is in the description or comment section below. And thank you again. Okay, enough of this promo stuff. I wanted to get it all out of the way. So today, I want to talk about what I've learned from starting my own webcomic for the past about 6 to 7 months now. And maybe things you could potentially learn from starting yours as well, if you were on the fence of starting one at least. I think comics are a great way to learn art on the way too. Like you don't need to be at any certain level to start, and that's the most exciting part, you know? But anyway, sorry, I go off on tangents a lot. I know it's not too long of a time frame. I know 6 to 7 months isn't too long, but I think half a year is about a good amount of time to really get the hang of things in terms of like process of webcomic making, at least for the vertical infinite scroll types of comics on WEBTOON and Tapas, because I don't know much of anything about traditional types, so I'm sorry for my traditional comic making friends. But yeah, either way, I can say I'm really enjoying this webcomic journey so far. It's been nothing but rewarding to me to really try out, so I don't regret anything. And I will be using examples from my own webcomic, as I said earlier, WEBTOON CIRCUS on WEBTOON. So all the art you see is mine, and all the processes, everything. So just a little disclaimer thingy. I hope you can at least take a little bit of insight at the very least. But yeah, let's just get into it. First things first. The thing I learned, I think, I want to say the most out of making webcomics was, it's going to sound obvious again, but it's time management. Even like, you know, managing my sleep schedule, which is kind of non-existent still sometimes. I try my best, or even staying hydrated, like something as simple as staying hydrated, you know? I cannot tell you how many weeks, especially in the beginning of making these comics, I'd stay up like about 3 days in a row. It was bad to get a chapter out because I'm just the worst procrastinator, like very, very bad. But with that said, I learned how to like juggle projects or what takes priority in my comics, and just discipline with my time. Having to get up to get stuff done, you know, all that kind of stuff, because I want to just start to separate the hobby from career things. So like definitely need that time discipline. If you're doing it for a hobby, you can pick it up anytime, but you know, with these comics it really taught me how to be disciplined with my time. Planning days for like lining, coloring, and breaking up the steps will most definitely be less strain on your body. Which really leads me to my second point on how to take care of myself. As silly as that may sound, the strains from making comics definitely takes a toll. Like, after each chapter session, I realize how much I neglect myself, and it's not even on purpose, you know? When you're so into your craft or your comic, it doesn't even need to be comics, just anything. When you love it so much, you definitely start to ignore the pains because of all the adrenaline and like endorphins. Like, you're just so excited about it and you don't really realize it. So as weird as it sounds, I've learned how to take self-care days, manage things better in general. Very vague. It kind of ties into the time management thing, I guess. That's why I like put it kind of, you know, next to each other. But taking breaks is super important, especially for a grueling process like webcomic making, or just comic making in general. I was already bad about taking breaks before, and I know Twitch friends, like, I know I'm really bad about taking breaks. But I still really am working on it. But now at least I'm more aware of it, you know? I think that's very important. That's important to take away from this. But, okay, the third one is how to be okay with not being perfect at everything, aka being a perfectionist, breaking that perfectionist mindset, right? So, especially with my commissions, I know I get way over the top with this stuff, so it really helped me with comic making. Like, it opened my eyes that not everything's gonna be perfect, and it's totally okay. You know, comics, as most people know, take a long time. It's really tedious, so, you know, very tedious to make. So you definitely have to learn how to cut corners and pick up the pace with your art output, which inevitably means not everything is going to be able to be meticulously planned to the dot or to the pixel. Okay, anyway, I know that feeling all too well of zooming up like 5,000% into the canvas to try and fix a pixel for my line art or something. Maybe most of us have been there, at least beginning, you know, art and stuff on digital, but man, it is hard at first, moving on to another panel, just knowing, like, you know, just knowing it's not going to be perfect, but at the same time, it feels freeing after a while. But that's all just to move on with the comic, you know? It's not going to get itself done, but with time, I learned how to deal with more mediocre art for panels, like, you know, panels that I just disliked, just to keep the story going. But also it made me step back and see the big picture of how the storytelling, or, you know, keeping the story going, is the most important part of comics, which is like, well, duh, but, you know, it's true. Everyone's waiting for that update, okay? Like, we gotta get things done. But anyway, not everything, or everyone rather, is going to stare at one panel to look for missing pixels or mistakes, like, unless maybe you are that person, but 99% of people, I'm sure, just like go through the panel. You only spend about like 3 to 5 seconds or something. I forgot what the time frame was, but you only spend about that much time looking at the panel. So just kind of sad to us comic artists, because like, well, that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, just get it out there. You can always fix or reboot later if you really wanted to, but just getting the comic done is super important. And so that's one thing I needed to tell myself. It's super exciting too, though. Like, now that I'm not really like zooming up on anything, I'm just like, okay, yeah, it's good. It's good. We're getting the comic done. That's so exciting. Anyway, fourth thing is about how to make, I guess this is more like art related, like the art itself, but how to make interesting compositions and make any boring talking scene seem more engaging and exciting and full of life and natural. But yeah, as obvious as that sounds, once again, I kind of forget how many talking panels there are in comics. Like, I obviously knew there were talking scenes, but when you're drawing them out, you're like fully aware of how boring they can come out, or just like, you know, there's there's so much potential in them, but then you're like, oh, I just learned how to like spice up panels, I guess, even if it's just simple talking scenes. With certain lighting and stuff, you can convey emotions. It's really cool. There's so many things you can do. That's another can of worms. I might make a video on that later. And then you start getting like creative with how you place the imaginary camera, air quotes, in your imaginary 3D space world. But it's one of my favorite things to think about now, and maybe, not even maybe, I will make a video of that in the future, of like how I tackle these, 3D spaces in my head. But it's so cool. Sounds like fun. Again, not saying that I'm a pro at this stuff already, but it has improved my panels significantly. Anyway, back to the goods. Okay, last thing. Fifth and final thing I learned was, you guessed it, or maybe you didn't, the dramatic kind of mushy stuff, For me, this is more of my opinion, it's personal to me, but because I know there's many conflicting like views on this, but it's to absolutely love what you're doing and just love your work and love your characters and keep that passion burning, and it definitely shows in your work. And it depends what kind of comic you're doing. My comic right now is like my baby, my life. Maybe that's with everyone's comics. I don't know. I don't have like a huge amount of like comic making friends, so I can't really confirm that. But when you're so into your world and immersed into it, it really like you start thinking things like off the bat of like how you want to tackle certain scenes, or like put love into it, So even on those tough days that engagement isn't really high or any of that, like numbers are a little low, just know you made something that no one else in the entire world would have made that is uniquely yours, like even though some things can look inspired and stuff, you still made it with your precious time, and it's your baby, and you have something that no one else can take from you up in that head of yours. Do I say a little too much? I think so, but it's okay. It's very special. Now it'll leave a mark on others to inspire with, how passionate you are about your craft. It's super important and personal to me. Anyway, this tip's a very personal thing, but it'll always be a learning experience or even a stepping stone as long as you create, and that's okay. Not everything has to be perfect, but and it doesn't have to blow up for it to have meaning. It was there for you when you were most passionate about it. That alone shows that it served its purpose. You can always move on from it. You can always pick it up whenever you want to, and there's no shame in that. It's not going anywhere. There is always worth in your art no matter what, and no one can tell you otherwise or take that away from you. I think it's important, especially to contemporary artists, since we get so caught up in numbers. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I'm sure every artist knows that feeling, but it's just not give up over numbers, Again, there I go with It's really hard sometimes, but you will always inspire those around you, and that is beautiful in and of itself. It may be a hard pill to swallow in the moment, but I learned to create things I'm really passionate about for myself mainly, and that way I cannot be too disappointed if things don't go as planned. Air quotes. You making even the smallest spark of inspiration to fellow artists or anyone around you to create something uniquely to them is absolutely mind-boggling, and it's crazy how powerful that can be to just have everyone around you also be inspired and create things together. But sorry, I went on a bit of a ramble. The last one was a little mushy. Maybe it was a little like not helpful to some people, but that's a huge tip to myself too. I have to keep reminding myself I'm doing this project for myself, and it makes me so incredibly happy already to be able to make something like this. And then on top of that, having people appreciate the story as well. It's magical. It really is. As cheesy as that sounds, that is something I would have never imagined in my future, to be able to create a story that someone enjoys. And hopefully I can dish out some more chapters that you guys will all enjoy. But yeah. Again, I'm rambling a lot. This tends to happen. Very much so. My Twitch friends know this all too well. I go on too many tangents. This is what happens when I get off script for even one moment. But as a last little thing, if you want to keep at it, I cheer you on. You got this. Keep creating, keep inspiring, and just keep your creations very close and dear to you. They are very priceless and are unique to you. I've probably said that many times as well. But yeah, once again, thank you so much. If you got to the end of this, I wasn't planning. Maybe this is really long. I haven't even seen the timer. But yes, if you want to check out the comic once again, sorry for plugging this so many times, but BLOODWIGHT CIRCUS on Webtoon. I'm the creator of it, and I would really appreciate if you go check it out and drop a sub if you enjoy it, or like, or whatever, all that good stuff. But yeah, I hope you gathered even a little bit of insight from this. Sorry, it's really like very amateur. I'm gonna try to be better at like editing and getting to the point. I did this take like all in one take, so hopefully it's not too terrible. But yes, I will see you guys in the next video, hopefully kind of soon. I don't have a schedule for videos just yet, but this was actually kind of fun. So if you enjoyed it, please leave a comment and tell me even things I could improve on, or all that kind of stuff. I know there's much to improve on since this is my first video, but I love you guys. Hopefully, yeah, you learned something, and yes, I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye bye.